Hey everyone, it is Colin. I am at All American Harley Davidson. That's this big old dealership behind me. And I've actually purchased 4 bikes from this place. They're absolutely awesome people. Did you guys see the release of the new models? I did, and I wanted to come down to the dealership and get their take on it, see what they thought of them. And I ran into Lyndon, who's the Director of Operations here, and I told him, hey, you mind spending a couple minutes and kind of talking about some of the new features on the new models, give his take on the Cvo, and then maybe some parts and accessories information. So let me introduce you to Lyndon.
Thanks, Colin. Hi, I'm Lyndon from All American Harley Davidson. I'm the Director of Operations here. I am standing in front of a 2022 model, but this is unchanged from 2021. Very recently, Harley Davidson has released information about new 2022 models, and I'm here to talk a little bit about those. So 2 of those new models are the Street Glide and the Road Glide ST. These are a performance-oriented bagger capitalizing on a trend that we've seen for the last several years of people really hot rodding their baggers. If you go back a few decades, nobody hot rodded their baggers. That was, at one point considered sort of the old man bike. The Street Glide changed that completely back in '06, and that trend has gotten, more and more popular over the years. In fact, many of you may have seen King of the Baggers race series, which is both capitalizing on that trend and also really inspiring a lot of people to get into it. So some specifics about the Road Glide and the Street Glide ST models. First of all, performance oriented. So we start out with a 117-inch motor tied into Harley Davidson's heavy breather intake and a tuned exhaust. This is the first time that they've done a 117 motor with a factory non-CVO motorcycle. On a cosmetic standpoint, they have added bronze wheels and a matching lower rocker box cover for a nice performance-oriented look. It's got a solo seat, sort of a cafe racer style seat with a little bump stop out back, more light out back with an LED tail lamp, a chopped down Fat Boy style front fender. They've tied those bronze touches in with the Lowrider S graphics. And also for performance-oriented, they have put in a taller suspension, giving you a lot more cornering clearance. The Road Glide and Street Glide ST models are a perfect starting platform for somebody that really wants to build a performance-oriented bagger. Also on performance news, Harley Davidson has had the Lowrider S for a few years in different forms. The Lowrider S is back again in 2022, but slightly modified. So this year, it also comes with a 117-inch motor. So, that is it's 125 pounds of torque for that very light, very nimble motorcycle. Absolutely fantastic. They've also raised up the suspension a little bit, and they've changed the gauge. Instead of having 2 gauges on the tank, more traditional look, they've moved that gauge higher so that as you're riding, you're not really looking down very far to get the information that you need. So some minor changes, but more power, also slightly taller suspension for even more cornering clearance and a little more performance oriented to the gauge. Another new model that Harley Davidson has come out with for 2022 is a modified version of that Lowrider S, the Lowrider ST. And what they've done is also to capitalize on a trend that we've seen in the last few years of people taking old FXRT fairings or aftermarket versions of that fairing and grafting it onto newer Softails or older Dynas. It's been a very popular performance trend to create sort of a sport touring motorcycle, giving you a little bit more protection. Personally, this is kind of hilarious because if you go back 30 years, people were literally throwing those fairings away. I do remember a time when we had returned leased FXRP models. That was the Sport Police model. And in order to sell them, we had to take those fairings off and convert them into regular FXRs. But all things change, and it's come around. I think the people that are doing that have actually been pretty smart. That makes for a very nice performance-oriented, nimble touring motorcycle. And Harley is smart to capitalize on that. They've redesigned the fairing. You can clearly see the DNA in it, but it is a new style FXRT fairing onto the Lowrider S motorcycle. Uses detachable bags, so you can have them on when you need them or take them off when you don't. An interesting addition in the P&A catalog is that you'll be able to add an audio system to it. So really a cool, performance-oriented touring motorcycle that gives you protection, but in a much smaller, more compact, high-performance chassis. Also, of course, people have been wondering about CVOs. Those of us here at All American have also been wondering the same thing, so we were gratified to see that they are indeed coming out with CVO models for 2022. We're seeing a Street Glide and a Road Glide CVO again. We're seeing a CVO Limited again, but this year they're adding a CVO Road Glide Limited, which a lot of us are really happy to see, and then they've brought back the CVO Trike as well. We are excited to see them come in so we can see all of the details. CVOs are always phenomenal, always, much more than skin deep. You just see so many details on these motorcycles. The things that we could see, through the video are that they've gotten back to more graphics and sort of more aggressive paint jobs, which I think a lot of us are going to appreciate. Also for 2022, Harley-Davidson has released a handful of new P&A items. I won't go through all of them here, but I will mention a few that I think will be popular for some riders. For Colin especially, I know he will be interested in the new Quick Shift for the Pan America models. Now, unfortunately, right now the fitment is only listed for 2022 models, but Colin, have no fear, we are working hard to see if we can get it on your 21 also. Some other things that I think will be popular with some riders, there's a new subwoofer, and at my first look of it, I thought it's not going to work because it takes up an entire saddlebag. But a really awesome thing about this is that it is detachable. Once it is installed, unplug it and remove it. So you've got the big thump when you're cruising around town, or pull it out and use the bag for storage on a trip. It also has cutouts so that it works with saddlebag speakers. So very thoughtful design, well done. There's a new drag seat that has an interesting component to it. It is a solo front seat with a bump stop on the back, but that's adjustable fore and aft about 2 inches. So if you want to sit a little farther forward for a more aggressive posture, or you want to slide back because you got longer legs or a more relaxed posture, you can do either one. For touring riders, there's a new compact cover. This is something that I think has had a good audience for a long time, and they just haven't had one. Anxious to see how small it packs up, but it basically covers half your bike so that when you come out of the motel in the morning, you don't have rain all over your bike and it's a little bit cleaner. They have a couple of new headsets, a 50S and also a 50C that has a camera in it. I think Colin is going to be able to tell you more about that than I can. Also for performance-oriented riders, they have a taller shock for the new Softail models that allows you a little bit more cornering clearance. If you'd like to know more about the models, about the P&A, or about ordering one of these new motorcycles, because they will be in somewhat limited supply, come talk to us here at All American Harley Davidson.
Lyndon just mentioned earlier, I might know a little bit more about the 50C. So maybe he'll loan me one. Maybe he'll give me a WIM unit and that 50C and I can get a true review. Don't know if that's going to happen. Hey, worth a shot. So I really want to thank All American Harley Davidson. And they're located in Hughesville, Maryland, which is about, I'd say, 40 miles south of DC. As I said in the beginning of the video, I've purchased 4 bikes from these guys. They're awesome people. So what do you guys think of the new models? What do you think of the new CVOs? So a lot of things that are happening at Harley, and I was pretty pleased to watch their webcasts on all that and talk about all the different things. So hopefully this video was insightful and helpful to you. Now get out there and ride. Be well, and I'll talk to you guys soon.